There are some games you remember. Maybe they had great graphics for the time, or maybe the gameplay was so cracked you couldn't help but love it. Maybe you loved racing games for the competitiveness, or puzzle games because you were just that much of a brainiac. But I think everyone has at least one comfort game. For me, that game is Tamagotchi Connection, Corner Shop 2. This is a game that I've come back to at multiple points of my life. I played it as a very young child, and again as an early teenager. And I still play it sometimes now, even as a 20-year-old. And even though I've played it and completed it countless times, I still come back to it sometimes. I first played Corner Shop 2 when I was about 6 years old because I used to rent it from my local library. I remember that my local library at the time used to let you rent Wii and DS games, and I definitely made the most of that service. Corner Shop 2 was a DS game, and I used to have like a little pink DS Lite that was just a big part of my childhood. This was before iPads were a common thing to have, so this was basically my equivalent of that. And I don't remember how many times I borrowed the game, but I do remember that I would often borrow the same games over and over again. I'm not entirely sure if that's an autistic trait or not, but I've always done this, consuming the same media repeatedly. TV shows, films, and games, and other things is just something I've done my whole life. I almost had like a fear of breaking out of what was familiar to me. And Corner Shop 2 was absolutely one of those games that I played over and over again. I played it so much that I never worried about whether I had enough time to finish it before I had to take it back to the library, because I would just always finish it. And even though technically it wasn't mine, I very much viewed it as my game. When I was about 9 years old, we moved from the city that I'd lived in my entire life to a small coastal town. And let me tell you, the library there was trash. You could only borrow books. And I was so devastated. I really missed my old library. So, because of that, I had a bit of a break from the game. But then, when I was about 13, I started missing my favourite games, and I wanted to find a way of playing them again. So I went on eBay, and because it was an original DS game, I managed to buy my own copy for under £5, and I was so excited about it. Getting to the game, when I was first playing it, I definitely didn't play every shop equally. There are just some games that I was just bad at, like the concert and the concert hospital. And maybe it's just because I didn't have much interest in them compared to the other shops. So I usually just avoided them unless I needed to complete them to level up. But the shops I did like, I replayed them constantly. I didn't care about being good at everything. I just cared about doing the parts of the game that I liked the most. Looking back, it makes a lot of sense how drawn I was to the car wash shop. I have OCD and so does my brother, but we only realised that when we were older. As a child, I didn't really have the word for it. I just knew that the idea of something being unclean made me really uncomfortable. And obviously, my OCD isn't just cleaning related, but it is a part of it for me. So, cleaning things in a game, that was a massive hit for me. There's also something quite ironic about this. When we were younger, we used to watch In the Night Garden, which was basically just a staple of every British child's evening routine. And my brother's favourite character was always Macapaca. And it was only years later, and we talked about it, that we realised how funny that was, considering his main trait is that he just goes around cleaning things on the show. So looking back, it makes a lot of sense that I was so drawn to the car wash. Most of the music in Corner Shop 2 is really calming. And it's really nice. I just love it. It's just like so chill and it's just easy to exist within the background. But then there's that music. The music that played when you've taken too long to complete a task. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it used to give me nightmares. And the second it started playing, I'd panic, and that panic would make me play worse. And I think the idea of failing a customer and them just rage quitting and leaving the shop was so horrific to my child brain. and I'm still really bad at doing things with time limits and pressure. So as a child, that part of the game was something I absolutely dreaded. Another thing I absolutely loved was the membership scheme for the Tamagotchis. Being able to track the progress and see visual proof of what you've done is incredibly satisfying. And I'm a very visual person, I'm a very visual learner, so just seeing that was very rewarding for me. As a kid, I was obsessed with reward cards for some reason. And like, when you can get like the little stamps on your card every time you go into the shop. And, when I was playing, I would just make my own reward cards for fun. I don't know whether that obsession started with Corner Shop 2 or if it came before, but this game definitely reinforced that. When I was younger, my favourite character was Memechi, and the main reason for that was pretty simple. She was the only girl character you could play. And for some reason, I always thought that because I was a girl, I could only play the girl character, so Memechi was always the one I chose. But now my brain's more developed, so my opinion has completely changed. Kuchi Pachi is clearly the best Tamagotchi to ever exist. First of all, look at him. He is so beautiful. And second of all, his entire personality is that he's a big back who loves food, which I can heavily relate to. And he's completely underrated and completely iconic, and I will stand by that opinion. Picking a single favourite shop is really hard, but my top three would be, I've already mentioned the car wash, I like the sushi shop, and the burger shop. And they're all satisfying in slightly different ways, but they hit that perfect balance between being calming and still keeping you engaged. Looking back, I don't really know what originally drew me to this game. And I never actually had a Tamagotchi as a child, and I didn't even know they were a thing outside of Corner Shop 2. I thought that, like, it was just that game. But now, as a 20-year-old, I love Tamagotchis. I have a Tamagotchi Connection and a Tamagotchi Uni, and I'm fully a Tamagotchi stan. But Corner Shop 2 was like my introduction to it, and you see all the characters coming into your shop and you just kind of make a connection to them, and especially the ones you play as. So that kind of was the start of my love of Tamagotchis, even if I didn't realize what they were. Corner Shop 2 was my comfort game then, and it still is now. And I never played Corner Shop 1, and I think there's a third game that I've never tried either. But if I want to play a DS game, I play Corner Shop 2. I don't think I ever imagined that Corner Shop 2 would become this important to me when I first picked it up, but slowly it just became my favourite game. Something I return to over and over again, from renting it at the library to buying it on eBay. It's simple, repetitive, and sometimes weirdly stressful. And I think for a lot of people my age, nostalgia is a really big thing. Having to transition into adult life is hard, and I see others going back and looking at things they loved as a child. And I think it gives us a new appreciation for what we had. If you played this game as a kid, let me know what your favourite shop was, and whether that stress music traumatized you too.